the stylist that likes to share. Here is Amber with knowledge and care. And if you like the vibe, like and subscribe. Okay, so I'm in my basement because I was trying to do this at work. Benny, come here. Well, it's crazy that he came down as soon as I started filming, so I had to get my little Vinnie Pooh in here. Let's get his good side. You know, I'm not gonna worry about that. Anyways, I'm in my basement because I tried to film at work the other day and I didn't realize the area that I was using wasn't gonna be a little backstory of where I'm coming from with a lot of, you know, just my general knowledge and experiences and how that brought me to where I am now. So I went to a cosmetology school that was one that you could go to while you were in high school. And I kind of had decided, I would say early on in maybe middle school, that I wanted to do cosmetology. I was really interested in art and was really considering that, and you know, was considering maybe even going to an art college at some point. So there was lots of different art kind of things that I did throughout the years, painting and even some kind of little side jobs that were, you know, not just like painting the house kind of painting, but actually like painting paintings on furniture especially was one thing that I did. Recreations of like master artists on furniture, or just general, like another thing that I did was flowers and stuff. I'd say flowers are probably another one that are another one that is kind of like my little niche of art is flowers. But I've decided to kind of like gear my art towards hair and makeup and that side of things, especially as I got older and got into like theater and stuff. I really like that side of it as well. So as I got older, that was definitely where I was headed with things, and I really enjoyed my cosmetology school. It was a really great school. It was a career tech center, so it wasn't a branded school or anything like that. So we didn't have a certain brand that we used. We kind of used a little bit of everything, which was kind of crazy in one sense, but also really cool in another way, that we were kind of able to pick the things that my teacher thought were, you know, good brands to help us learn different things. So that was really cool. And our motto was be the best of the best. So I definitely, you know, got that instilled in me early on, just in my upbringing, but then again reinforced in cosmetology school that, you know, if you're gonna do something, do it to like the best of your ability. Don't half-ass it, you know, like get in there and learn as much as you can. Do it to the, you know, to the max. And I really appreciated about my teacher and my education there. All three of the teachers there were amazing, wonderful, smart women that were very highly skilled and very dedicated to, you know, passing those skills on to us. And I didn't know how lucky I was, how rare it was necessarily to have such passionate teachers, especially three of them that work so well together. Hearing from other cosmetologists that I've worked with, you know, my story at my school is kind of a rarity. The experiences at cosmetology schools across the board are, you know, meh at best. So I'm very, very thankful and very lucky to have had the experience that I had. So after cosmetology school, I did not end up going straight into a salon. I was at a salon doing receptionist work when I graduated, but I also was pregnant when I graduated. So that definitely changed the trajectory of where I ended up. After I had my daughter and then I got married, and you know, I ended up in Grand Rapids where my husband was from. And the first place I ended up working was actually a barbershop. It was a chain of barbershops that, sorry, my nose is running. allergies. You know, that is not what I had envisioned for myself. I definitely, you know, in cosmetology school, I was very into makeup and updos and did some competitions with some styling and makeup that I did fairly well in. So I was very, you know, motivated to get like into the bridal industry. And so that was more what I was looking into, and I applied at a few different spas, and the one spa that hired me said, okay, you know, we have this spot that we want to put you in the spa, but right now we have these barbershops that we're opening up, so we would like you to work in them, and then we will still train you in the styling and makeup and all the other things that you won't necessarily be doing at the barbershop, but just work there for now, do the training, and then we'll put you into the spa. So I ended up working in that barbershop for about a year, and I did get a lot of great training. I was able to go with the girls from the spa to another part of the state, Detroit area, where there was more education, and so we would carpool over there and take color classes and cutting classes, and so much great education. I was so thankful for all that experience, but just the getting to the spa part just kind of kept getting pushed away. They kept me in with all the education, and actually at the barbershop I worked under some great women who were, one was actually a barber herself, she had an aunt that was a barber license, and then she worked and trained under her to learn barbering skills, and so I learned from her, and I would say that was something that my school definitely can slacken, so I needed more of that basic barbering skills, and so that was also a great you know, opportunity there that I'm so thankful for. But after about a year, I definitely was like, okay, I really want to do more color, and I want to do more styling, and I'd kind of maxed out, you know, as far as what I could do clientele wise at the barbershop. It was one of those ones kind of like, you know, you just come in as you want. I don't even think there was an option to make a reservation or an appointment at all. I think at some point there might have been like a waiting list of some sort, but that was usually discontinued or not used because it was just kind of first come, first serve, seemed to be easier. I think since the internet got a little more popular in years to come, that has changed. But when I was there, you know, I was pretty much doing nonstop cuts with, you know, not necessarily repeat clientele because you know, you couldn't book appointments, but definitely people would know the days that I were there and would come in and say, I want to wait for her, even though, you know, she might have a few people waiting. I'm going to wait for her because I like her. So, you know, I stayed very busy and then did fairly well on the tips and everything, but it just wasn't where my heart was. So then I started looking for other opportunities. The next place that I ended up was a new spa, which was exciting in a lot of ways, but also kind of crazy and scary too, especially now in hindsight, because that situation ended kind of crazy as well. So after I left the barbershop to go to the next, and I think all schools, you know, it was perfect setting, but it was new. So a lot of what we were doing was promotions and such. So I still have clientele to this day that I've met at some of those promotions that we did at that original spa that I worked at. So that's really, you know, it was a really great experience for me as far as, you know, we did like fashion shows and women's night out and all these different promotional things, and just doing lots of different bridal parties and such. And so I also got more experience with body waxing and spray tans and facials. I got to work under a great esthetician who taught me so much about facials. I got more education. I got color certified again in a different color line. So the previous education that I had was for a different color line. So kind of went from one to the next. Education has always been a big thing for me. So anywhere I wanted to be needed to make sure that education was definitely high on their list, because not only did I want that for myself, but I also want it to be something that I know the people around me also are living up to those standards. Just because I think it is important. If it's important to me, I want it to be important to the people that I work with as well, you know. This spa I think I was at for about maybe 2 years, 3 years. It wasn't very long, and by the time I had my second daughter, that place actually, in a really crazy scheme of things, ended up getting closed down because the owner, who really wasn't involved, like he didn't manage it or anything. I only saw him and met him a handful of times, like at Christmas parties and, you know, where the owner might pop in. But there was some like insurance fraud situation going on. So the cops actually came in the day I was getting induced with my second, and shut down the salon while I was at the hospital. So that was super crazy. And thank goodness I had some really great friends that were like, hey, we know you're kind of, you know, lost in the world right now as far as where you're going to end up. You just had a baby and whatever, but we're willing. It was a chair rental salon that was willing to kind of like give me the opportunity to start commission until I felt comfortable to maybe rent a chair from them. I don't know if I was the first person they did this with, but it was one of the few that they had done this with. So for me, just having a baby and everything, I definitely wasn't ready to like just rent a chair. That wasn't where things were headed for me. And in all honesty, that was something that always kind of, you know, I knew it was where the money is. I definitely had friends that were already getting into it at this point, you know, being about 5 years in to my career. You know, some people had already built a clientele and started doing chair rental and such. So, you know, I knew it was an option, but it was something that I kind of thought of as, you know, not necessarily something that I would be the best at, because I'm more of an artsy type, you know, and so the business mindset for me, I definitely have an understanding of it, but it's not necessarily my strong suit. So, and even though like in that spot, I ended up even becoming an assistant manager and manager for a brief period of time, which again kind of solidified my idea that, you know, business and management and such might not have been my cup of tea after doing that for a year. Again, I could do it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was where my passion was, where my heart was, or where my talent was. So it was definitely something I was, you know, ready to leave behind, but also, you know, knowing that then I was going to kind of transfer into being my own boss kind of was scary in a way, because again, I just didn't feel like ready to do that. I knew I had an okay clientele, but not necessarily be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like go do my own thing in chair rent. I wasn't feeling confident to be there yet. So I was very thankful for that opportunity, and I ended up staying there, I want to say about a year, because I know that maybe about a year and a half. So my daughter is she's going to be 14 in about a month, and so that's about how I gauge where I've been now, where I've been renting a chair. She was about a year old when I started working there, maybe almost gonna be 2 years old, so we're going on about 12 years now. So 12 years they have been there, and I've been there. It was a couple of the girls that worked at the place, the spa, that had given me the opportunity to do commission until I was ready to do chair rental. I tried to get into chair rental there, but they kind of were like, I don't know, we're not ready. I think they were making some decent money on me in commission, and they were kind of thinking they might go more that way. They had hired a couple of other girls doing commission, and so they were kind of like rethinking their business strategy. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go rent a chair somewhere else then, you know, because I was finally feeling ready to do that. And these girls that I work with now are some of the best, you know, the best stylist and also the best people. So I was just really excited to go work with them, especially once I saw the space, and just really excited to have, you know, an opportunity with a new space, renting a chair, even though again it made me nervous, but the girls there were really supportive and helpful, and were like, okay, you know, we'll help you make this make sense money-wise. She's like, at this point, I feel like I can guarantee you have nothing to lose. Like, give it a chance. I'm here to support you. And in the end, they were right. I definitely, within a couple weeks, were like, yeah, I'm making more money. This makes sense. And as long as everything, you know, continues as it should, this will be a great way for me to, you know, go on with my my business. So at this point, you know, I'd still kind of had it in the back of my head, as I'd mentioned in my video before, that I would eventually want to teach, but my teacher, who was an amazing teacher, she suggested getting some experience behind the chair first. So I kind of had always just kept that in the back of my head about the teaching, and thinking maybe, you know, another 5 years from now. It ended up being longer than that, but I had, you know, so many great opportunities again with this group of girls, being able to do different promotional things. Some of them were paid, you know, different kinds of actual makeup artist work and such like that, but some of it was some more promotional type work that we did, donate our services maybe for like a charity event or something, just to get our names out there. And again, that was great way to build my clientele and get some great experiences where, you know, just get to meet different people, new people. I got to meet, oh my goodness, my brain just went totally blank. I got to meet Cindy Crawford once, you know, just doing, again, some makeup that was a promotional type thing. And it was fun. And so I love doing stuff like that, especially when I got to do it with other stylists that had the passion, you know, to have fun like that with, you know, just doing some more, maybe even some avant-garde kind of hair and makeup, and also just a fun way to kind of get to meet new people and get our names out there. So that's been great. And that kind of leads me to where I am now, and where we left off at the last video about what led me to then teaching. Yeah, so never know where life's gonna take you. Be ready, you know, hope for the best, but kind of like prepare for the worst kind of thing. Like, always be ready for that next step, the next journey that life gives you, and hopefully, you know, you can keep picking up those life lessons along the way. Hopefully, even though it might seem like 2 steps back and then a step forward and a couple steps back, that, you know, overall you're moving forward in life and things are progressing. And I'm super thankful for where my career ended up. You know, even though I ended up, you know, switching from working behind the chair to doing more education, and now I'm kind of flip-flopping back, I'm so thankful for all the experiences that I have, and there's lots of lessons to learn along the way. So hopefully I can pass those on to you. There goes the stylist that likes to share. We are done, so go have fun. And don't forget to make a comment if you have something nice to say.